I'm sorry, Larry, there you are. Can we go to
He's the boss.
what we do on the bus?
If you could take your seats, please. I have been notified by the constable that there is 110 people at this point. We have a quorum, and it's 7:30. Congratulations to you all. I declare the Town of Rowley special and annual town meetings of May 4th, 2015 to be called to order.
Madam Clerk, I move the town vote to appoint Robert Snow acting moderator of the May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting due to the absence of town moderator Joan Peterson.
Second.
So the explanation to that is that Joan Peterson is unable to be here tonight. According to town meeting rules, you, the town meeting, have to vote on an interim moderator for tonight's meeting. I have a nomination to nominate Bob Snow as interim moderator. I hear he's been studying for a week. Moved by Bob Mary, seconded by Joe Perry. Yes? I'm doing both jobs now. Do I have any further nominations? Hearing none, I need a motion and a second to close the nominations. Thank you. Could you tell me who made the motion, who seconded it? Shirley? And seconded? John, all right. I like that we're on a first name basis here. So I have a motion to nominate Bob Snow to act in the capacity of temporary moderator for the annual and the special town meetings for the town of Rowley for May 4th, 2015 session. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed by voice unanimous. And Mr. Snow, you can, I'll take all my little pieces of paper and sit down.
Good evening, everyone. Everybody hear me? That's the most important thing. Oh, they gave me a gavel. Okay. Okay, very first thing on the agenda, ask the chairman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, I would ask Reverend Hagopian to come forward, give the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Bob and I usually pray privately before our meetings. We didn't have a chance to do that tonight, so I'm going to give a little extra special prayer for everyone, especially since you're filling in.
Especially for me.
That's right. That's right. Honorable Selectmen, town officials, citizens of Rowley, we are grateful to God that we have our freedoms. And this meeting is an example of how those freedoms are exercised. So it's an honor for me to ask God's blessing upon our efforts. Let us pray. Oh God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this beautiful spring night. But we especially thank you for each and every one of us gathered here. For we are all citizens of this community, united together to do the best we can to make our lives here the most meaningful, the most purposeful, and the most peaceful as possible. We thank you, dear Lord, for all of our town leaders, for the responsibilities that they take each day. We thank you for our first responders who keep us safe. And we thank you especially for each and every one of our neighbors who help make this community of Rowley what it is. A wonderful place to live, to raise our families, and to share in this journey of life. May your Spirit bless our efforts tonight as we meet together as a town. And may your Spirit continue to guide us, inform us, provide us with your wisdom and your peace. We pray now and always as our forebears have done for 376 years. We thank you and pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Bob. Tonight, I would like to thank you all for coming out tonight, especially on this beautiful New England evening. So, for over 300 years, the townspeople of Rowley have gathered like this to do their business. So thank you so much for showing up. I know it's a beautiful New England evening, and we could go for ice cream, but this is more important, isn't it? So with that, we need a reading of permission for those to speak.
You need a motion for that?
We need a motion.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, I move the following. Non-resident individuals' permission to speak is called upon during the May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting. Judith Pickett, Town Council. Deborah Egan, Town Administrator. Conservation Agent.
Bob, can you move that a little bit closer? Thank you.
Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak. Fire Chief James Broderick. Pamela Jacobson, Library Director. Coordinator of Health Services Frank Mangiani. Town Planner Kurt Baker. Principal Assessor Sean McFadden. Building Inspector Ken Ward. Timothy Southall, Parks and Recreation. Light Plant Manager Dan Folding. Water Superintendent Mary Beth Weiser. William DeRosa, Whittier Votech School Superintendent. Christopher Farmer, Triton Regional School District Superintendent. Brian Forget, Triton Regional School District Assistant Superintendent. State Representative Brad Hill. State Senator Bruce Tarr.
Second.
I'm back. It has been pointed out to us that the motion that Mr. Murray read specified that we were nominating Robert Snow to moderate the annual town meeting. But we want to start the special town meeting first. Generally, we do the special and get through that before we get to the business of the annual meeting. So now I would entertain a motion to nominate a temporary moderator for the special town meeting.
Madam Clerk.
Yes?
Let me find it. I move the town vote to appoint Robert Snow, acting moderator of the May 4th, 2015 special town meeting due to the absence of town moderator Joan Peterson.
Second.
Same deal. We have a motion. We have it seconded. Do we have any other nominations? I need a motion to close the nominations for the nominator's petition for the special town meeting. And seconded? Someone say second. Thank you. So we've closed the nominations. I have a motion to nominate Robert Snow to be the temporary moderator for tonight's special town meeting, May 4th, 2015. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, thank you. Now this time, would you like to sign?
Now we got the permission to speak. That was done under this special.
Yep, so we'll do it again. We need to get to the annual meeting.
Then we get that first for the special.
Yep.
Okay.
You might
Okay.
mention that.
Okay, what the chairman read was the permission to speak for the special town meeting. Do I have,
I have a special.
you have for this, could you read the special town meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move to allow the following non-resident individuals permission to speak if called upon during the May 4th, 2015 special town meeting. Judith Pickett, Town Council. Deborah Egan, Town Administrator. Conservation Agent Brent Bazelak. Fire Chief James Broderick. Pamela Jacobson, Library Director. Coordinator of Health Services Frank Mastriani. Town Planner Kirk Baker. Principal Assessor Sean McFadden. Building Inspector Ken Ward. Tim Southall, Parks and Recreation. Lighting Plant Manager Dan Folding. Water Superintendent Mary Beth Weiser. William DeRosa, Whittier Vocational Technical School Superintendent. Christopher Farmer, Triton Regional School District Superintendent. Brian Forget, Triton Regional School District Assistant Superintendent. State Representative Brad Hill, State Senator Bruce Tower.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. At this time, I'd like to inform you, I'll be using the town meeting time, a handbook for parliamentary law, town bylaws, and some Yankee common sense. Hopefully, that will get us through this meeting with a limited number of glitches. So with that, we have a lengthy warrant tonight. So with that, we're special. And with that, have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. With that, let's move on to Article 1.
Suspend the reading.
We're gonna suspend.
Town of Rowley, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for the special town meeting, May 4th, 2015. To the constables in the town of Rowley and the county of Essex, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Rowley, qualified to vote in elections and town affairs, to meet in the Pine Grove School, Route 1A, on Monday, the 4th of May, 2015, at 7:30, there and then to act upon the following articles.
Mr. Moderator, I move to suspend further reading of the May 4th, 2015 special town meeting warrant because present town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it. Article 2.
Just reading Article 2.
Article 1, Bob? Article 1.
That was Article 1 we just did, right? Yeah. Okay. Bear with me, we'll have glitches here tonight.
So this is suspending the reading.
Suspend the
1 and
reading.
2 are open during the town meeting.
Okay.
Repeat that statement, and then you go into 3. So
Okay.
say 1 and 2 are open.
Okay, Article 1 and Article 2 are open. Do I need a motion for that? No. Okay. We'll go into Article 3. Oh, wait. Article 2. Tonight, when you approach the podium, please state, when you approach the podium, this is for everyone, state your name and your address, if you would.
My name is Stephen Conley Sr., and we've been in the town of Rowley since 1954. And I reside at 45 Mansion Drive. And I want to read the motion. I, Stephen Conley Sr., a Rowley resident residing at 45 Mansion Drive, Rowley, Mass., makes a motion under Article 2 of this annual town meeting to instruct the Rowley Board of Selectmen within 30 days to officially request in writing to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to hold a public hearing to receive and discuss information regarding the effectiveness of the Seabrook Nuclear Plant Evacuation Plan.
At this particular time, I will limit debate on this to 10 minutes.
Is there a second on it?
No, as moderator, under parliamentary rules, I can limit debate.
I'm sorry?
As moderator, I can limit debate I'll read the section to you.
Didn't get a second.
I didn't understand what
Oh.
you said.
I can limit, as moderator, I have the power to limit debate, so I will limit to 10 minutes on the subject. Okay?
Do we have a second on it?
But
Do I
I think
have a-
somebody seconded.
No, as moderator, I have the powers to do that.
Right, but we're just looking for a second.
I don't think I need
On
a
the
second.
motion.
Judy?
Not
the
you.
He wants a second on the motion.
Second.
I heard a
Oh, a
second.
second on your motion.
I heard
I'm
a
sorry,
second,
yes.
no.
Have a second? Second?
Good.
Okay, all those in favor? All those against?
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion passes on the voice vote.
And I'm going to try and make this very quick. My family's been on this for over 30 years. And it all started because when I was running the Seaview, and my son owns and runs it now, and he's done one heck of a job there, let me tell you. But when I was running it, I was told by the executive director of the whole NRC to leave one of our residents behind because she was paralyzed in the event of an accident at Seabrook Nuclear Plant. And I felt that was making a certain segment of our population expendable. And after getting the whole town of Rowley in 1986 to sign a petition to Mr. Reagan, he ignored us. And I think some of you have seen the signs up all over Rowley. And we're not bringing Mr. Obama here to pat him on the back. We're bringing him here so he can do his job on this one. And I have a lot of information about him. And that he didn't answer my letters about counterfeit substandard parts that are in 72 plants in the United States, including Seabrook. And they covered up some of it. And I got new evidence about counterfeit substandard parts at Seabrook on circuit breakers. But anyway, to cut it short, I guarantee we're going to bring Obama here. I guarantee it. And some more information will come out that'll prove that. And that may put me in a very awkward position. They had me in Mass Federal Court for over 6 years, the Department of Justice representing the NRC, trying to force me to give up brave informants' names, which I don't do. Now, brave informants, in my mind, are some of the bravest people in the world, because they put their careers on the line and come to me with evidence as long as I don't give up their names. And the GAO came out after I gave it to Reagan personally, by the way, because I'm a life member of the Republican inner circle, whatever that meant. But Senator Tarr, Representative Hill, after working with his office for quite a while, has endorsed our call. And We the People's call is for the NRC to hold a hearing before the Massachusetts and New Hampshire State Police and the chiefs of police around the 10-mile radius towns and ask them this question. If Seabrook had an accident during the summer months, including July 4th, are they able to evacuate the people safely and on time? And everyone I've met says no. Now, Seabrook was licensed in the unlikely event of an accident, not the likely. It was mostly done by Sununu and the fellow that came after me from the NRC. Now, right now, there's a gag order on the state police that in Massachusetts. They can have no opinion and make no political statement on whether that plant can be evacuated safely. And we've heard all kinds of things about first responders. And they're getting a pretty bad rap from Missouri and now Baltimore. And these are the folks in the fire department, you know, they go to your house when it's burning and they throw their arms around you and pull you out the window. And the state cop's the one that goes up and asks for license and registration at 12 o'clock midnight. And they roll the window down. Instead of getting the license administration, they get a sawed-off shotgun. And maybe, they can't do this, but if they took a day off in America, maybe all of us would start to appreciate, and I think we all do, but some, you know, I think don't appreciate them. Now, I was at the Attorney General's office today, and Ms. Healy's office seems to be listening. And I understand that Governor Baker now, since I shook hands with him January the 7th, before he was sworn in, is going to send me a letter. And Bill Todd, he's a leader in this town. He wrote a letter to the Speaker of the House in New Hampshire, asking to meet with me. And he did. And they're in session. They're busy. But he says, what's it about? I didn't know it was him. I was in the hallway because I had gone to 20 of the senator's office in New Hampshire. And I went up to him. He's in the hall talking to 4 people. I went up to him. I had my suit on. And he says, can I help you? I said, yes, I'm looking for the Speaker's office. And he says, well, I'm the Speaker. I said, you are? And he says, yeah. I said, I'd like to meet with you. He says, what's it about? I said, I just got new evidence there's counterfeit substandard circuit breakers in Seabrook and 20 other plants across the country. He says, I want to see you right now. So I go in his office, and we're talking, and then I told him about the iodine issue. And he looks at me, and he hollers to his chief of staff. Says, Terry, I want you in here on this one right now. So we're going to see what they're going to do in New Hampshire. Hopefully they'll follow the lead of Senator Tarr and Representative Hill, who had the courage to stand up and challenge this industry. And I'm very proud of this town. 80% of the town stood up and said, and they were told by the NRC in '86 they couldn't have a say in the evacuation of their own kids. Because our kids, when they went to school, they went to Triton inside the magic 10-mile radius. And that's why you're raised up. I want to see you raised up again. And look, if anybody would like a sign let me know, because I'd like to see you get your voice up on what you know. And I'm going to tell you right now, this NRC is nothing but a rubber stamp for the industry, and we ought to stop it. Now, the states gave the power to the federal government, to the NRC. And when the NRC jeopardized the safety of our children and everything we work for, we're going to take that power back. And I'm going to tell you right now, that plant's going to be shut down. And I want your voice, if you believe in what we're doing, I want you to raise your voice up. Because you can send a message right across the whole United States that Rowley, Mass. believes in democracy. And when people try and circumvent our voice, they're going to hear from this town. And maybe we can get some other people. You know, a lot of people are complaining about why the Obama administration, that they aren't doing a good job. And I get plenty of reason to do that. But look, our forefathers died giving us the freedoms that we should be exercising. And I'd like you to join us doing that. I'm done.
Mr. Conley.
Thanks for your time.
Mr. Conley, could you give me the motion, please?
Pardon?
Do you have that motion?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I need it
Oh,
signed
one more
by
thing.
himself and-
Who seconded that motion?
I need the person who seconded.
I need your signature. Mr. Todd?
I have a bunch of information here you want to look at, and I think the selectmen, we're going to have a meeting next week, because I'm still trying to find out why they didn't vote on my request that I sent to them March the 9th.
We have a motion. You have a motion that you're dealing with.
Yes. Mr. Conley, the motion is written on that?
Yeah, it's on there.
I just repeated. Okay, I'll read the motion again. I, Stephen Comley, of Rowley, a resident residing at 45 Mansion Drive, Rowley, Massachusetts, made a motion, Article 2, on this annual town meeting to instruct the Rowley Board of Selectmen within 30 days to officially request in writing the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, NRC, hold a public hearing to receive and discuss information regarding the effectiveness of Seabrook Nuclear Plant Evacuation Plan. Motion made by Steve Comley, seconded by Frank Todd. Okay. Anything else on Article 2? Okay, moving on to Article 3.
Mr. Moderator,
Oh, yes, we did vote on it.
Okay, good. It's this vote. Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, Article 3.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to suspend in the town meeting the application of Section 19 and Section 20 of the town meeting bylaw pertaining to the reconsideration of all money articles. Such suspension is intended for the specific purpose to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, so-called, and to give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it.
801.
Okay, Article 4.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $4,000 from free cash to be added to Line 7, Selectmen's Expense, of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of May 5, 2014, for a total appropriation of $21,117 to pay for the expenses incurred to hold the May 4th, 2015 annual and special town meetings.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes.
802. Bob, you forgot Finance Committee.
Oh, sorry.
Finance Committee recommends the article. Skipped on Sharon.
Thank you. Okay, Article 5.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate from the MEMA Bridge Repair Grant Account the sum of $25,000 to be used by the Board of Selectmen to expand and pave the Town Hall Annex parking lot.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. Article passes.
803.
803, okay. Article 6.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate the following unexpended amounts of money that were initially borrowed to finance capital projects that are now complete and for which no further liability remains. To defray the costs of purchasing an in-wall air conditioner for the Treasurer's Office, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, as permitted by Chapter 44, Section 20 of the General Laws.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Finance Committee recommends. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it. Article passed. Article 7.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate the following unexpected amounts of money that were initially borrowed to finance capital projects that are now complete and for which no further liability remains, to pay the costs of purchasing a snow blower for use by the library, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, as permitted by Chapter 44, Section 20 of the General Laws. Unexpended amount, $2,915. Date of approval of the special town meeting, May 5th, 2014. Warrant Article 9, original purpose, the Council on Aging vehicle.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
All those in favor? Aye. All those against? Ayes have it. Article passes. Article 8.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $295,667 from free cash to line 100, snow and ice removal of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of May 5th, 2014, for a total appropriation of $395,667.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it.
805.
Article 9.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate from free cash the sum of $35,000 to be used by the Board of Selectmen and Harbor Master to fund the following. Number one, $19,000 for a 25% match for a state grant to purchase a new pump-out boat. Number two, $10,000 to fund repairs to the rotted areas of the town wharf. Number three, $6,000 for the purchase of new gangways at the town landing and dock area.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it.
806.
Article 10.
Mr. Moderator,
This requires a two-thirds vote. sorry.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate $150,000 to pay costs of roadway improvements and stormwater management systems at Prospect Hill, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, and that to meet this appropriation, $75,000 may be transferred from the town's free cash, and the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow $75,000 for the water department portion under the pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 8, and Chapter 29C of the general laws, are pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes therefore.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it.
807.
Article 11.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44B, to transfer and appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund, Historic Resources, or undesignated fund, the sum of $8,309 to be added to Article 17, Town Common Lights of the November 4th, 2013 special town meeting, to be used by the Board of Selectmen to reimburse the Rowley Municipal Lighting Plant for the payment of light fixtures for the now completed restoration of the lights on the Rowley Town Common for a total appropriation of $43,309.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Aye.
against? Anyone against?
808.
Motion passes. Article 12.
Mr. Moderator, excuse me. I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the balance of $7,011 in Article 8, Town Common Tree Restoration of the April 30th, 2012 special town meeting warrant to Article 17, Town Common Lights of the November 4th, 2013 special town meeting, to be used by the Board of Selectmen to reimburse the Rowley Municipal Lighting Plant for the balance of the payment of the light fixtures on the Rowley Town Common for a total appropriation of $50,320.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes.
809.
Article 13.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44B, to transfer and appropriate $4,933 from the Community Preservation Fund unreserved account to be used by the treasurer to pay the interest for the short-term financing for the former Girl Scout land shown as property on Assessors Map 18, Lot 7.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
810.
Okay, Article 14. This requires a two-thirds vote.
I move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $200,000 to pay additional costs from the developing of the water treatment plants for the state revolving fund, including the payment of all costs incidental and related therefore, and that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under the pursuant of Chapter 44, Section 8, and Chapter 29C of the general laws, or pursuant to any other ability authority to issue bonds and notes for the town, therefore.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Discussion? Roy? Mr. Chairman?
Mr.
Mr. Chairman? Somebody wishes to speak.
Robert Petrillo, 916 Haverhill Street. they're talking about $200K to pave 2 miles of road. Last Friday, one of the water department people measured this road, and it's 2,206 feet. It's a little short of 2 miles by probably 75%. I was told that to cross the mosquito control ditch would cost 40 grand to get it into compliance with what's required. Now that leaves 160,000. So if this is 1/4 of the amount of paving needed, it should be 1/4 of the cost. It's just for starter, this road is unneeded. They put in gravel in December, and it's still in pretty darn good shape. There's no need of hot topping it. It'll turn into a speedway. And if you leave it alone and there's a dirt road, if you drive to conditions, you don't have to worry about having an accident. In 25 years, I've never seen anybody towed out of there. It just is completely unnecessary. Thank you. I'm totally against this thing.
At this time, I'd like to ask Mary Beth Weiser to come up and explain, couldn't get deliveries during the winter last year.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Mary Beth Weiser. I'm the water superintendent. The $200,000 is a minimum that we can borrow. It's with SRF funding. So it's not that the project is going to cost $200,000 in total. The $40,000 was an engineering cost estimate just for what we would call for budgeting purposes until we actually get in there and take a look at what's needed for permitting. Mosquito ditch or a small perennial stream, we still need to deal with that, and the only way to do that is to design a culvert system similar to what's next door for the development that's next door, because they had to deal with that when they put that road in. This past winter, we had some issues with the existing road. We were unable to get chemical deliveries. And that caused some problems for us. Without chemicals, can't operate the treatment plant. Some of the concerns that have been raised about speeding on the road, the amount of traffic, we're going to be looking at some type of speed bump system on the roads. It is necessary with the snow. We can't get the tractor trailers can't get down their safety. And I don't know about you, but what would be worse if a tractor trailer got in there and we spilt, 10,000 gallons worth of a hazardous chemical on the ground? I think that'd be a lot worse. The project isn't going to cost $200,000. It doesn't mean we're going to spend the $200,000. It's the minimum that the DEP will allow us to borrow if we would like to use SRF funding for the project. Any questions?
Mr. Petrillo?
Well, Petrillo, 916 Hazel Street. When this project started, it was talked about $12 million in their little, ended up 14 plus. This says 200,000. Is this going to end up 14 plus million, just like the last one did? And the thing that really annoys me is I'm one of 2 people that got a lien put on their property because I didn't pay the bills for building the water treatment plant. It was sort of a hassle to get the lawyer off of my butt. Thank you. I'm still against this thing.
Good evening. My name's Kevin Snow, 82 Hillside Street. My question just kind of echoes the last question here. In 2010, Article 20 at the annual town meeting, we approved $9 million to spend on this water treatment plant that we all know that we need. In 2012, Article 13 at the special town meeting, we approved an additional $3.3 million for the same water treatment plant. And tonight we're being asked to approve another $200,000. Whether or not we need it all remains to be seen. My question is, how come we didn't know at the time that this road was going to be needed, or how come it wasn't paid from that $12.3 million we've already appropriated?
Well, I can't speak to what happened with the additional borrowings in the past. The paving for the road, I heard many things about, because I asked the question when I came, why was this paving of this road not part of the original project? It should have been. I really can't answer as to why it wasn't. It's just we had some issues. The amount of traffic before, what was back there was just the pump stations. It was a station that was visited once a day by the operators, and we weren't getting tanker trucks of bulk deliveries. The chemical deliveries were in smaller quantities, which means smaller trucks. We now have an influx of getting those 18-wheeler tractor trailers in there for at least three of the chemicals. We have bulk storage of 4,000 gallons of chemical for each chemical. So that's the only way to get the chemicals in there. And we did make some repairs. I almost forgot to mention that. Over the winter, it was just a Band-Aid to get us through, and it did work. I invite anybody to come up and drive that road. It's okay, but I know when I go through with my vehicle, even going 5 miles an hour, the truck is all over the place. And the water department is going to end up spending $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a year to bring in material, and it's going to wash away, and we're going to have to keep doing this. And we're really not going to get a permanent solution. We'll just be continually putting Band-Aids on repairing this road. And I think that we should, look at paving this road, because it would be an investment. It's going to get a bigger bang for your dollar by doing this, and it'll be a lot safer for everybody. I completely understand the concerns of the residents in the neighborhood, but I can assure you that the water department will work very closely with the people that live in the area that are affected to, listen and entertain the thoughts and concerns, and we'll try to work with them so that everybody's happy, because we want to be a good neighbor. Any other questions?
It's me again. The only other thing I got to say is, when you need something over a certain amount of time, you can usually plan ahead and have a stockpile. Why can't anybody else do it besides me for my barn? Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Whoop.
Jeff Head, 366 Central Street. If you pave the road's going to collapse. They have a backhoe. Buy the attachment for $7,200 and grade the road. And if you had to get $500 worth of material every year to regrade your road, that's only $7,500. You have the equipment, do it.
Any further discussion? Okay, we've had a motion, a second. Finance Committee has approved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Hand count.
Do a hand count. Listen, my counters, I need my counters. What do we hand count? Okay. All those in favor, raise your hand, please.
Let them get their papers
Their
first. Their arms
papers.
are going to get really tired.
All right, hold on. Let's get the papers first for the counters. I'm still new at this.
Okay, I need the counters. Come get them. We're going to do a hand count or a paper
Hand count.
Hand
Hand
count.
count.
That is what I got. So I can get them. Talking about to your other person. First time the hardest one. Well, this is the side when you have to stand. There you go.
Okay, everybody, the hand counters have their papers. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
just doing this. First time's the hardest. First time's the hardest. Getting the ribbon.
You can't count us all set?
You have to bring them to Sue. Can I just ask a question? The people way in the back corner over there, on the left-hand side by the exit sign, are you in the visitors row or the resident row? Did I say it again?
Residents.
The residents, did the girls get them? Because you're really sitting in the visitors aisle.
Yeah, you should move over. If you would. Okay. The tally sheets, bring those up, please. What? 1 second.
I haven't done the nose yet. Oh, I suppose we should do that too. This is taking so long. I want to do that.
You have all the, you have the tally sheets? Yours. Do it. Yeah, I know, okay. All those opposed, raise your hand.
We'll add them up. Because I just be jumping. I mean, I can take them predicating on I don't want to be having down the stairs.
Oh, no, that's right.
Beat them downstairs.
End up on the floor.
I said to Charlie, his job is to stand on the stairs, just handle it. You wouldn't know. Susan, what article on this?
Okay, Article 14. Yeas, 53, noes, 85. Article does not pass. Can we...
Good to no purpose. 828.
Bob, is it short?
It's very short.
Well, the article did not pass, so I'm going to allow you to speak just short.
The only thing I got to say is a young lady back there asked me a question. If this stuff is so dangerous, if it's spilled driving in or out, how come it's in the water?
Article 15. We have
Miss-
read the article. What?
Mr. Moderator?
It did, wait, 1 second, excuse me.
We have that all set.
Right, that's what we're
Yeah.
going to do. We're going to read it, and then we'll have it withdrawn.
It's all set.
Okay.
Mr. Moderator, I move to indefinitely postpone Article number 15 of the May 4th, 2015 special town meeting.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
$830.
Article 16.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $67,000 from free cash to be used by the highway surveyor for the replacement of the roof at the highway department garage, the purchase and installation of light fixtures and lights at the highway department garage, and the purchase and installation of an emergency generator at the highway department garage.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Ayes have it. Okay.
831.
Article 17.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $10,000 from free cash to be used by the Board of Selectmen and the Treasurer to archive town records.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
A motion, I have a second. Finance Committee recommends. Any comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against?
831.
Motion passes. Bill?
Bill Demento, Harbor
Article
Master.
17.
Mr. Moderator.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Jumping the gun.
Article 18, I'm sorry.
I move the town vote to update the Town of Rowley Harbor bylaws of the general bylaws of the Town of Rowley by deleting the words strike through, seen as strike through in the text on your handouts, text of the bylaw and replacing it with a new bold text as shown in Article 18 on pages 4 and 5 of the May 4th, 2015 special town meeting warrant to read as follows. Additional permit stickers will be issued at a cost of $15 per sticker to Town of Rowley residents who use more than one vehicle to transfer their boat during the season. B, violations including parking, town dock tie-ups, missing moorings, slip, private dock registration shall be set at $75 per day. Section 6, mooring slip, rack regulations, permits and fees. Part 2, all boats moored in town waters, tied at slips or seasonally rack stored on waterfront property with launching capacity shall be assessed an annual fee. Tender tie-ups on the backside of the town launch docks must be authorized by the harbor master. These locations are for Rowley residents that hold a current mooring permit for a private Rowley River or Plum Island Sound Rowley mooring. The seasonal fee for these tie-ups is set by the harbor master.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes.
833.
Article 19,
Mr. Moderator, I move the town to vote to accept as the town way the laying out by the Board of Selectmen of the private way known as Wild Pasture Lane, Oak Ledge Circle, and Arrowhead Circle, situated on the southerly side of Weathersfield Street and running to Spencer Knowles Road, shown on a plan titled Street Acceptance Plan, Wild Pasture Estates, sheets 1 through 5, dated 12/12/14, revisions through 2/17/15, these being the roadways shown on a definitive subdivision plan entitled Wild Pastures Estates, dated 9/20/2004, and recorded with Essex South Registry of Deeds as Plan 75 and Plan Book 386, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift or deed the land, easements, and rights therein.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. This doesn't require the Finance Board. So, in the last article, I'm sorry, discussion, come forward.
Is there a planning board recommendation or anything?
Mr. Moderator, John Peranti, 45 Wild Pasture Lane. As a resident of Wild Pasture, we do not believe that the conditions have been met for acceptance of this roadway at this time. The engineering specs have been met as far as the road being paved and being taken care of, but we have found that the sidewalking was not done appropriately. So we have issues where we have no ability to grow grass at this point properly. The loaming that was put in place has been deemed to be substandard by 2 independent landscaping firms. And the plan calls for a hydroseeding of this area, but doesn't call for any, or describe any loaming or any of the appropriate follow-up that the experts that we've asked require to actually have this be done appropriately. So I'd like to recommend that we have a contingency on the acceptance of the roadways until the developer finishes to the satisfaction of the town, so the town doesn't take the burden of the cost of having to fix this roadway and fix this land, that this is done appropriately and verified by independent experts that are in the landscape community that can verify this, not engineering resources who are not experts in landscaping.
Thank you. Planning Board? Any from the Planning Board wish to speak?
I just want to address Kurt Bryant, Chair of the Planning Board. I want to address briefly the process of accepting roads is something that takes some time, and this road was built during the recession, and then when the economy picked up, houses sold quite rapidly, and we go through a very rigorous process with the town review engineer, with many meetings with the project owner, and these are public meetings where you can come in and bring up these issues. The issue with having roads accepted, as people know in parts of the town where roads are not accepted, the planning board, I know one of my goals as chairman is to try to clean up a backlog and also to make sure hold developers accountable through holding money back until things are done properly. We have found recently that developers are working much better with us and not skipping town. In a winter like last winter, when a road is not accepted and a developer that skips town and the roads aren't plowed properly, that I find, I wouldn't want to, that's a real burden for people. I think the roads need to be accepted. They need to be maintained by the town. Patrick, you know, the highway surveyor, and they do a great job plowing and maintaining the roads, but they absolutely have no jurisdiction and cannot maintain those roads until they're voted for and accepted in town meeting for liability purposes. So the only way that these roads are going to get plowed, there's no guarantee that there'll be a fall town meeting. I would suggest that we can work with the developer to get the grass proper and get it watered, and we can still do that. We've found him very open to doing that. He's worked very closely with us to get this road accepted. This road's been going, it's almost 10 years now. It's over 10 years. There's been a lot of field changes, a lot of changes to the plan. There's been some tweaking. We've worked to get things right. I think the people that live in that street have a wonderful neighborhood, and he's done a good job. It's never perfect, for sure, but it is a public process. But to defer these things just perpetuates the problems into next winter, and I would recommend that. So.
Oh, please come to the podium. Thank you.
I'm sure you're aware, sir, the HOA actually paid for the plowing. The town doesn't pay for the plowing, nor does the developer in this case. The individual residents have been charged fees, and we were charged assessed extra fees to pay for plowing of this road. So
you actually proved my point. Thanks.
No, just saying the point that to say the town is going to have to be burdened by this issue if we don't wait to get corrected, I think the town will be more burdened by the cost to finalize the sidewalk properly and finalize the installations, because we started getting estimates on the costs that it will take to do this versus the budget that was put for snow plowing last year. If you look at the budget for snow plowing versus the cost for the individual landscaping costs, far exceeds the landscaping cost than the snow plowing cost of this last winter.
I think it's important we work.
Excuse me, gentlemen, could you address the town and not each other?
So when you look at the budget model, you look how much we paid for plowing versus how much the landscaping estimates are coming in. The actual plowing costs were much less than the landscaping estimates that the landscapers are individually giving us for the cost of fixing. So if the town is going to have to pay the cost of fixing the sidewalks and fixing the material, we're actually going to end up paying more than the residents are paying for the snow plowing at this point. So the argument that the only way the roads are going to get plowed is irrelevant in this case, because the town didn't pay for them last year or the year before. The residents have been paying, and we paid assessments beyond our initial fees. And we've been told we'll continue to pay assessments because we have a HOA in that area, which may not be something the rest of the town has, but we do in Wild Pasture have a HOA set up. So we will actually burden the town more by not putting this on the developer to fix prior to acceptance. The only thing we have is to hold back payment to the developer as an incentive for him to finish the job properly. Otherwise, he has no reason to come back and fix the job.
We've found this particular developer to be very cooperative, working closely with the planning board throughout the entire process to close out this. He has stuck with this project through a very severe recession. I think he will continue to work with us to finish it properly. We do have a review engineer. We have third parties go out and check this. To be honest, this is the first time this has come to my attention or the planner's attention. But we are open to having these things done exactly by the book, exactly by the plan, in an open process. And my goal is to get these roads accepted. I don't think that 30 years, 20 years is the right way for the town to be burdened with substandard, and the highway department be burdened with substandard roads that people buy into a subdivision expecting town services. We pay a good deal of taxes in this town, and that's what the taxes are for. Thanks.
The only thing I would suggest to the town is we put a contingency on the acceptance. We're not saying we don't want the acceptance. We're not saying the job wasn't done well in portions. But there's a completion, and there's been assertions by a developer of what he will and will not do already, which, to fix the issue, is already becoming substandard from what independent experts, which are not engineers, but landscapers who are experts in this area, who've told us that the plan is substandard. So the recommendation I have is that we have this as a contingency of acceptance, and it can be easily solved by a developer within a couple weeks, and we move on. This is not 20 or 30 years of interesting, kind of bureaucratic concept. This is a short-term window that can be solved. The developer gets his money back, we get satisfied as a town, we move forward, and actually works in our favor, because then we don't have to incur the costs going forward as a town. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion of a second. Planning board recommends. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Could we have a paper ballot, please? Counters, come forward, please.
Paper this time.
Paper. Yeah, let's do a paper. I wasn't sure. Yep. Address. Question.
Okay.
Just as a reminder, you people up on the back wall, if you cannot hear the speaker or myself anytime, I want you to speak up and say, "Speak up." All right? And don't be afraid of the microphone when you come up to the podium. Okay. Again, if you can't hear at the back, let us know, okay?
Get them soup.
They're going to tear it down, put the voted ballot in the discard, and that will, and I will announce it. Don't stand too close to it. You know, it's good. How close are we? Does everyone have one in their hand? All the registered voters have a ballot. Okay, that's why I'm asking. Raise your hand if you don't have one, so we can get you one. Hey, oh, Sue doesn't have one.
Over there.
And so the way this works, simple yes, no ballot, you tear it in half. The voted ballot.
Yeah.
Two more over there, to the right, to my right. More.
The voted ballot
5,
goes into the
6.
box that Sue has in her hand. The discarded ballot goes into the rubbish. But we can't start until everyone has it.
Everybody have a ballot?
Everyone has one now.
Okay.
Yes? And I have all the extras in my hand. There's no other extras on the floor. So it's no good. Decide which side goes first.
Left side first. My left.
Sue, I think I'd move further out. It's hard now they're coming at you. It'll take a minute to count.
As soon as we collect all the ballots, we'll move on to the next article, okay? And then we'll come back and announce the count.
Do you need my phone?
Yes, you have to stay. So it's due, you should rather than necessary.
Can the right side come up? On my right. At this present time, the counters will take the ballots over and we'll count them. We will move on to Article 20, but before we do, Senator Tarr is in the audience, and Senator. I'll be careful how I word this. Do you have anything to say, Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and through you to the members of your town meeting. First of all, don't panic. I will only be a minute or long enough for the vote to be tallied, whichever comes first. But first of all, I want to say it's outstanding to walk in to a room and see it packed with people who care about the future of this town, and everyone who came out tonight is to be congratulated for their participation in this town meeting. Second, I want to let you all know that on Beacon Hill, we are in the midst of developing the budget for the coming fiscal year. The House completed its deliberations just a short time ago, and the Senate will begin its deliberations of the state budget on the week before Memorial Day, because we will need all of that weekend and more to recover after that vigorous debate. But one of the things that I know is on everyone's mind, and I want to be sure to let you know that we are very sensitive to it, is the issue of school funding and the issue of trying to get Triton adequate resources to provide the best possible education for students in the district. I want to let you know that we have heard from a great many of you. I want to let you know that we take it very seriously. And I want to let you know that in addition to working on Chapter 70, we're also very much focused on the special education circuit breaker to make sure that we can reach the 75% reimbursement level that we strive for each and every year. And also something that's been very important and in which Rowley in particular has shown tremendous leadership in its advocacy for in the past, and that is the issue of regional school transportation. Many of you who follow this subject know that prior to the 9C cuts that occurred to balance the current fiscal year's budget, we had reached what could be considered an historic high for regional school transportation, only to see that number get knocked down by the need to balance the current fiscal year's budget. I want you to know that many of us still consider that to be a priority. We're working to restore regional transportation funding. It is too soon for me to make a prediction, and it would be irresponsible for me to do so, except to say that you can count on the legislative delegation to do our very best, not only to work on Chapter 70, but also to work on the issue of regional school transportation and special education reimbursement. We will have some additional numbers shortly when that debate is concluded. And as you all know, I think, when the House budget is concluded and the Senate budget is concluded, we go to a 6-person conference committee to try to work out the differences between those two budgets before it goes back to the governor. So we still have a way to travel. But we want you to know, all of us in the legislative delegation, that we are working very hard to address things on that front, as well as to maintain other forms of local aid, like unrestricted general government aid. Last but not least, Mr. Moderator, and I see that counting is still going on, so I get another 30 seconds. I just want to say something here that I said earlier today, and that is that I was very proud to join in the ceremony that we had this morning to dedicate Rowley's new water treatment facility. It is reflective of the care that this town takes for its residents, the focus that's placed on the quality of life here in town. To see that kind of state-of-the-art facility come online and come into action to be able to provide first-rate water for the residents of the town, not only today, but as we learn through our tour of that facility, that it has capacity that should be able to provide for us well into the future. The water commissioners are to be congratulated, as well as the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and by extension, everyone who has come to town meeting to help the town work toward getting that facility. It's an important day today in the life of the town to see it come online and be ready to serve all of us for the indefinite future. So with that, Mr. Moderator, I hope I bought some time for the tally. And let me just say what an honor it is to work with the Board of Selectmen, to work with Debbie, to work with the Finance Committee, and all the folks that are involved in the schools. It is truly a great partnership and one that I very much value as we work together to make sure we address issues that are important to all of us. So thank you very much, and thank you all for coming out for town meeting tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
On behalf of the town, thank you, Senator, for your service. With that, let's move on to, we're still counting? Okay, let's move on to Article 20.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to accept as a town way the laying out by the Board of Selectmen of the private way known as Dexter Drive, shown on a plan titled Street Acceptance Plan, Rowley, Mass., Roadway Layout, Dexter Drive. This being the roadway shown on a plan titled Hawksworth Village, A subdivision in Rowley, Mass., recorded with Essex South Registry of Deeds as Plan 38 in Plan Book 395, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to acquire by gift, deed, or eminent domain the land, easements, and rights therein.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Planning Board? Is that a recommendation, Planning Board? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
858.
Passes. Okay. Article 21. This requires a 2/3.
Good evening. My name is Cliff Pierce. I'm a member of the Planning Board. Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to amend the zoning district map of the town of Rowley, dated November 2nd, 1983, signed by the Planning Board and filed with the town clerk, to create a flea market antique store overlay district consisting of approximately 65 acres in accordance with the area delineated by the map entitled Zoning Map Amendment Area for Establishment of Downtown Rowley Main Street Flea Market Antique Store Overlay District, as shown in Article 21 on page 7 of the May 4th, 2015 Special Town Meeting warrant, under the title Zoning Map Amendment Area for Establishment of Downtown Rowley Main Street Flea Market Antique Store Overlay District, and on file with the Planning Board, and vote to amend the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw by deleting the words in strike-through text from section 3.1.1 of the bylaw and replacing it with a new underlined text as printed in Article 21 under numeral 1 on page 6 of the May 4th, 2015 Special Town Meeting warrant, and by adding a new definition to section 2.0 definitions as printed in Article 21 under numeral 2 on page 6 of the May 4th, 2015 Special Town Meeting warrant, and by enacting a new section 4.12 to the bylaw to read as printed in Article 21 under numeral 3 on page 6 of the May 4th, 2015 Special Town Meeting warrant.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion. Oh. I'm sorry.
You didn't have any.
What?
You didn't have any discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's go back. Any discussion from the floor? Cliff, can you give some...
Well, I'd like to briefly summarize the article.
All right, I'm sorry.
I mean, the article sounds complicated, but it's really pretty simple. The article would create a new overlay zoning district in town, which would be called the Flea Market Antique Shop Overlay District. Now, an overlay district is simply a zoning district that's superimposed on the base or underlying zoning district. And towns use this device to either tweak the bylaw by imposing additional restrictions on a portion of the underlying district or by allowing additional uses on a portion of the underlying district. In this case, this article would allow for the establishment of two specific types of businesses in the area covered by the overlay district, which would be superimposed on a portion of the outlying district, which is our main residential district, where the uses that are allowed are primarily residential. As the name of the article implies, those two new specific uses that would be allowed are flea markets and antique shops. So the overlay district is shown on a map that's included in the warrant. It would basically be 65 acres in size. It runs along Route 1 or Main Street, and it stretches from the Brad Street Farm to Warehouse Drive. So to sum this up, if this article is passed, the Planning Board would be authorized, upon the proper application and after a public hearing, to issue a special permit for a new antique shop or flea market in the 65-acre area that would be covered by this overlay district. Other than that, this article makes no other changes in the uses that are allowed in that area, and so this area would still be primarily zoned for residential purposes.
Any further discussion?
Hi, my name is Tony Treadway. I live at 69 Warehouse Lane. I look at the map and think of it as sort of my backyard. I suppose they think of us as their backyard, but there's conservation land between us, but we sort of abut. I had many questions in trying to understand this as I was reading it, and Cliff explained some of them just now. But I'm a little bit concerned because on Sunday, trying to get through from down where I live uptown and back again, just to go to the supermarket, was pretty nightmarish with a lot of people and cars backing into 1A. And both sides of the street, encompassing all the land that was available except for trees and houses on this, seemed to have parking in it. So the thought of adding structures reduces the parking that's already coming to town for the activity that's there now. So on the point of public safety, I just wonder and hope that someone is doing the thinking through of how that works, because that's an area between me and the fire department and the ambulance, and also for the residents up at the top of the hill in the nursing home, same trajectory. Many of us in the East End, I think, now drive down to Ocean Ave to Railroad out Jellison to get to the supermarket on Sundays. So I hope that's something to think about. I don't know if that's going to be part of the public discussion when you get to further permitting. But I think also I wanted to know why this can't happen under existing rules now, if somebody wants to open a flea market up the street or down the street. And also in your description, your definition rather, number .2, it reads, flea market, a temporary or transient business operated on a site that involves the use of land, structures, or buildings for the city. Temporary and transient is not structures and a flea market in a building. So it's kind of like, I work a lot with words and language, and I'm not sure I understand all the language built into that definition. So I'm sure Cliff can answer me.
I'll try. First of all, as to the parking issues, as I said, people would not be allowed to open a flea market just because this article is passed. Rather, they first would have to apply for a special permit for the planning board. And one of during that public hearing process, a special permit process, we routinely look at issues such as on-site parking and traffic and so forth. And I think they would have to demonstrate that they have sufficient on-site parking to operate the establishment. They wouldn't be allowed to park cars on Main Street. In terms of the definition, I'm not sure I understand your point. Would you like to, you're set down already? Would you like to clarify that? Sorry to bring it back.
It's okay. I guess I'm just trying to understand temporary or transient business that also involves building something so that the business can be there all the time.
Well, the definition does refer to the use of land, structures, or buildings.
Cliff, could you come to the microphone?
Yes,
Thank you.
The definition does refer to the use of land, structures, or buildings for the sales activity. So I think it's pretty clear from the definition that structures could be permitted as part of this process for the flea market. I mean, flea markets can be done inside or an outside. It's not just strictly an outside activity.
But is it temporary?
But, excuse me, could you come to the microphone?
I guess I'm trying to figure out if this is 7 days a week activity.
The activity is still a temporary or transient activity, but it can be carried out in a structure, which obviously is going to be, it's going to be, a permanent structure. It's not going to be something that's taken up and put up and taken down, just when not necessarily anyway. There's some flexibility in the definition that would allow for some kind of a barn where a temporary or transit flea market activity could take place.
I'm just trying to understand if I'm looking at 7 days of that kind of traffic jam or just Sunday.
Again, that's an issue that could be addressed in the special permit process.
Just to remind you, address the townspeople and not each other. We're not having a debate here. We're a town meeting, okay? So thank you, Cliff. We have a motion. We have a second. Any other discussion? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Hi, Peter Pashis, Bennett Hill Road. First of all, as I look at the map, I kind of understand where they're looking to make this overlay. And it doesn't seem like it's a big deal because it's right across from Todd Farms and it's that area now, which quite frankly, if you've been down here recently, the parking has really been alleviated because there's a parking lot on the other side there where everyone parks. So the parking is not going to be a big issue here. It's a wonderful thing for the town. It's a destination. People come from miles around to come to our community in our town to spend money, to enjoy the beautiful Rowley town. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity to expand something that's really very, very indicative of our wonderful town of Rowley. The Todd Farms and that whole area is just a perfect spot for it. And as far as parking, the parking has been alleviated a lot because right now there's parking not only in the Todd Farm area, but across the street there's a wonderful parking lot. So I don't know, I think it's a real positive for the community.
Any further discussion?
Sharon Emery, Warehouse Lane. I just wanted to let this gentleman know that when they put a flea market in there, the parking lot will disappear. That you can't have it all parking and then have a flea market too. I live on Warehouse Lane. I know how hard it is to get to church up on Main Street on Sunday mornings. I'm not against it. I just want people to understand that the parking is definitely a problem. Trying to get the boats down Warehouse Lane Sunday mornings is a problem because they're parking everywhere. Just wanted to let you know.
Sure.
And I think, and you can correct me if I'm not, I thought I heard that before anyone does anything, it has to go in front of the planning board who makes that type of decision. I thought that that was the case, that the planning board would get involved. And because when you go down Warehouse Lane now, this seems pretty easy because there's a lot of good parking there. But does the planning board eventually have to get involved and make sure that there's not going to become a...
Yes, the planning board has to approve a special permit, which we can't issue until we've held a public hearing and we've addressed all these concerns. And the planning board definitely has a definite requirement for on-site parking. The parking has to be on-site. It can't be on the street. So the planning board will have to determine that the parking that the applicant is proposing for the lot across from the Todd Farm Flea Market has adequate on-site parking. And if they want to park cars from the existing flea market, maybe that's okay, but they're going to have to demonstrate that their parking lot that they have will serve both establishments. So that's a definite requirement that the board always looks at in virtually every project that comes before us.
Nate Comley, Mansion Drive. I've been parking cars down there for about 3 years now, and I've never thought in a million years I'd be running a flea market. But I've had a lot of interest, and I've got a lot of land that is not being used. Well, I think I've been part of the solution to the problem on Warehouse Lane. And I know how it is to get a boat down there and how it used to be. Well, now I got them all over my field, and I have all this outside area that can be utilized, and I got a lot of interest. And I need to pay the taxes. My family has been interested in preserving open space throughout all our time here in 3 generations. The land has got to be used for something. They got to cover expenses, taxes. This is a way to do it, and also to preserve open space at the same time. Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Hi, Jean Masher, 74 Weathersfield Street. I really wasn't planning to speak, but I just had a couple questions that I'd like to leave everybody here with. First of all, I don't really see this as a parking issue. I have a couple very high-level questions about this. One is specifically to the planning board, in that there seems to be a discrepancy because in the description of the article, it says that this would be called the new Downtown Rowley Main Street Flea Market, and yet, as I understand the map, it's in the outlying district. So right there seems to be a discrepancy that, I think that might be good to address. The other is, I don't really see this as a parking issue. I'm just wondering if the town and the townspeople who a couple years ago voted to preserve open space with the Brad Street Farm property, if this is really a direction we want to go in, and if we really want to be known as, you know, the flea market mecca of Essex County. Again, it's just a question that I'd like to pose and ask people to think about. And then the other is, I find it interesting that we're considering changing, redistricting a whole segment. 65 acres is not inconsequential. And why is it only one particular category of business that's being considered? And does this open the door down the road for others? So just a few questions for people to think about before you vote. Thanks.
Yes, you're correct. This would be, this overlay district is in the outlying district, and the motion that I read refers to a downtown Rowley flea market antique store overlay district. However, when you look at the actual text that would be changed by the article, the actual text of the zoning bylaw, it just says flea market antique store overlay district. So I would submit there's really no error there. I'm sorry, what was your second question? Actually was your last. In terms of the members of the planning board felt that this was a desirable economic activity to promote for the town for the reasons that have already been stated, and that this area is really a transition area from the central business district to the outlying district. So it would be appropriate to authorize these two very specific uses in this area. We did consider a proposal, actually it was before the overlay district proposal. We considered a proposal that was presented to us by the zoning review committee that would simply change the zoning for the 65-acre area from the outlying district to the central, which again is a general business district. And we recommended against that because basically we thought it was too broad and it would threaten the residential character of this area that we're talking about by allowing any number of businesses to open up. So we felt this was a better way and better and more specific way of addressing the specific problem that we wanted to address, basically limiting the change to just these two specific types of businesses and not allowing for any other businesses. Now, of course, people in the future can move to make whatever changes they want to this area or any other area, but I think we just have to deal with those proposals at that time.
Okay, any more discussion on the floor? With that, I have a motion, I have a second, I have a recommendation from the planning board.
Yes, the planning board recommends.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Have a hand count, please.
Yes, we can.
It's Article 21. Article 21.
We have to get it right. Okay. I didn't know you were going to get it worked out.
Have all the counters have their paper ballots? All those in favor, raise your hand. We have a count?
Wait, no.
Whoop, whoop,
No,
whoop.
Ann, there's no still. So don't go in there.
All set? We all, complete? We are? Okay. Those opposed? Yeah, well, hold on. At this particular time, I'd like to wish Joan Peterson, our moderator, who's usually here, and believe me, no one misses Joan more than me tonight. So wish you, Joan, well, and hope you return soon to us.
And Dave.
And Dave, our selectman. And Dave is under the weather. Dave, I know you're at home and you have your feet up on the pillow when you're watching this.
Make sure they know which one you're reading.
Okay. This is article. The results of Article 19. 82 yes, 81 no.
Excuse me, Article 21?
Article passes.
We haven't done this one.
922.
Oh,
82 yes, and 81 no, or something like that, 83.
Mr. Moderator, could you give the numbers again?
One more. I'll read that one more time. This is Article 19.
Article 19.
Article 19. Yes, 82. No, 81. Article passes. Did you get that, Joe?
Thank you.
Article 21. Yes, 40. Let me see. Yes, 135. No, 13. Okay. Article 22.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to indefinitely postpone Article 22.
postpone.
I have a motion.
I have a... Yep.
This article would authorize the Board of Appeals to issue something that's known as use variances. Basically, what that would mean is that the Board of Appeals would have the authority to allow for the establishment of any business anywhere in town, regardless of whether the business would otherwise be allowed in the district in which it's located. This was referred to us for consideration, and we, the planning board, held a public hearing on this article, as we are required to by state law, and we voted unanimously by a vote of 5-0 to not recommend that the town meeting adopt this article. So that vote is advisory only. It's a recommendation. It's not binding on town meeting, but it was 5-0. It was unanimous. So we would like to see the article tabled, essentially.
Okay. I have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Okay. Okay. What's the motion? This is Article 23? Mr. Chairman, the last motion. Adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to adjourn the May 4th, 2015 special town meeting.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
9:26.
9:26. With that, we will move on to the annual town meeting. Thank you for being patient tonight. Okay.
We got to do the equipment. Bless you.
Town of Rowley, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for annual town meeting, May 4th, 2015. To the constables in the town of Rowley and the county of Essex, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are hereby directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Rowley qualified to vote in elections and town affairs to meet in the Pine Grove School, Route 1A, on Monday, the 4th of May, 2015, at 7:30 p.m., then and there to act upon the following articles.
Mr. Moderator, I move to suspend further reading of the May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting warrant because present town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor? Okay. Opposed? I'm sorry, opposed?
9:27.
Motion passes. Okay. Article 2.
Well, just that Article 1 and 2 is still on the table. Article 1 and 2.
Okay. Article 1.
No, they just open during the meeting.
Just open the meeting.
Yeah, they're open during the meeting.
I think
They're
I
open
gave
during the
away
meeting.
mine.
Okay.
So you go
Article
to
1 and
Article
2.
3.
Let's go to 3.
I got the third.
Article 3.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to suspend the town meeting application of Section 19 and Section 20 of the town meeting bylaw pertaining to the reconsideration of all money articles, such suspension intended for the specific purpose to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, so-called, and to give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
929.
Article 4.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to fix the annual compensation of elective officers of the town as required by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 108, as follows. Moderator, $100. Board of Selectmen, each member, $2,331. Board of Assessors, each member, $2,456. Town Treasurer Collector of Taxes, $74,528. Town Clerk, $51,993. Planning Board, each member, 0. Highway Surveyor, $71,742. Municipal Water Board, each member, 0. Trustees of the Free Public Library, 0. Rowley Housing Authority, 0. Municipal Light Board, each member, 0.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Finance Committee recommends. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
930.
Okay. Article 5. And as we go through, and I think Joan Peterson, as moderator last year, when she did this, she brought the Article 5 up, and she went down, and I think it's a very good way to do this, is to go down and name the item number, and then go down to the subtotal of that portion. So I'm going to ask the Finance Committee to do that. And just under general government, they'll name the number, they'll go down to where the subtotal is, and then give the subtotal. So at that particular time, is that anybody wishes to put a hold, that's just call out hold, okay? And then we'll come back to you.
Make sure we heard.
What?
Make sure we heard the whole.
Yes, make sure we hear the hold, okay? All right, with that, Finance Committee?
Okay, general government, lines 1 through 57. It's made up of town moderator, Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee, town accountant, Board of Assessors, treasurer tax collector, town council, personnel board, IS department, town clerk, elections, register of voters, conservation commission, planning board, zoning board of appeals, agricultural commission, town hall, town hall annex, for a subtotal of $1,122,010.
Okay. No holds? Let's move on to public safety.
Public safety, line 58 through 91. Police department, constables, fire department, ambulance services, inspection department, emergency management services, animal inspector, animal control officer, tree warden, moth control, harbor master, shellfish commissioner, shellfish constable. Total $2,148,335.
Any holds? We'll move on to the next section, schools.
Okay, schools, line 92 through 96. Subtotal, $9,172,668.
Any holds? Move on to the next section, public works.
Public Works, lines 97 through 107. Highway Department, snow and ice removal, recycling, fire hydrants, street lighting, town land maintenance, cemetery commission. Subtotal, $579,299.
Any holds? We'll move on to health and human services.
Health and Human Services, lines 108 through 119. Board of Health, Council of Aging, Veterans Affairs, Handicap Commission.
Any holds?
A subtotal of $323,760.
Excuse me. Any holds? We'll move on to the next section, Recreation Historic.
Recreation, lines 120 through 130. Recreation Historic, Rowley Public Library, Recreation Committee, Historical, Other, a subtotal of $314,233.
Any holds? We'll move on to the next, Debt.
Debt is line 131 through 155. Subtotal, $523,504.
Any holds? We'll move on to the next, Insurance.
Insurance is 156 through line 159, a subtotal of $1,488,564.
Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Finance Committee
Finance Committee recommends this article.
recommends. Any discussion?
Do I need to read it?
I'm sorry. What? Oh, read the motion, sorry.
I move the town vote to raise and appropriate $14,922,373 and transfer and appropriate the sum of $650,000 from free cash and transfer and appropriate the sum of $100,000 from overlay reserve for a total of $15,672,373 to defray the expenses of the town for the forthcoming fiscal year, including bonds, notes, and interest.
Have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
936.
Article 6.
I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $2,664,320.40 from the Water Department Enterprise Fund for fiscal 2016 for the following budget lines. Read all of them.
Have a motion? That's
I mean,
okay. Second?
Second.
Second. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Recommends. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
937.
Okay. Article 7. Oh, I'm sorry.
I move the town vote to transfer. I move the town vote to transfer from the Water Department Enterprise Fund to the General Fund the sum of $85,165.07 for the following items, and that any monies spent by the general government on behalf of the Water Department be reimbursed to the General Fund from the Water Department Enterprise Fund in fiscal 2016.
Second.
Have a second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any discussion from the floor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
938.
Article 8.
I move the town vote to transfer the sum of $59,876 from the Water Department Enterprise Free Cash to the Water Department Stabilization Fund.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends this.
Discussion from the floor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
939.
Article 9.
Mr. Moderator,
I'm sorry, this is Article 9 through 12.
Thank you. I move the town vote to authorize the following accounts and their uses as printed in Articles 9 through 12 on page 10 and 11 in the May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting warrant. Article 9, Municipal Light Board, Municipal Lighting Plan Annual Appropriation. Article 10, Harbor Master Municipal Waters Maintenance and Improvement Fund. Article 11, Cemetery Commissioners Perpetual Care Trust Interest Account. Article 12, Board of Assessors Recertification Fund.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Any discussion from the floor? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passes. Okay. Excuse me. Article 13.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to, pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and 1/2, to authorize the following revolving funds in their uses for fiscal year 2016. Council on Aging, cap $5,000. Board of Health, cap $20,000. Parks and Recreation Committee and Board of Selectmen, cap $30,000. Board of Selectmen, cap $2,000. Highway Department, cap $12,000. Shellfish Department, cap $6,000. Zoning Board of Appeals and Board of Appeals, cap $4,000. Board of Cemetery Commissioners, cap $20,000. Library, cap $2,500. Agriculture, cap $1,000. Harbor Master, cap $30,000.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Article passes.
942.
Okay. Article 14.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and 1/2, to authorize the use of a revolving fund by the Board of Selectmen and Parks and Recreations Committee for the fiscal year 2016, into which donations, receipts, and fees charged for recreational programs and community events and activities shall be deposited, and which may be used by said Board of Selectmen and Parks and Recreations Committee with authorization of the Board of Selectmen to pay for the expenses incurred to hold recreational events and community activities, and such expenditures not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Article passes.
943.
If I could, Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
Just make a comment on the article that we just passed, that we'd like to, our intention is to hold some concerts on the Common this summer, like we did for the Rowley 375.
Thank you. Article 15.
Article 15. Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to close out the following revolving funds. Parks and Recreation Committee, Board of Selectmen, into which receipts from donations and fees charged for recreational programs and community events shall be deposited, in which may be used by said Board of Selectmen and Parks and Recreation Committee to pay for the expenses incurred to hold such community events and recreation programs. Beginning balance 0, income 0, expenses 0, ending balance on February 28th, 2015, 0. 375th Anniversary Committee, into which donations and receipts from activities shall be deposited, and which may be used by 375th Anniversary Committee and Board of Selectmen to pay for the expenses incurred to hold celebratory events and activities to mark the town's 375th anniversary. Beginning balance $9,689.31, income $7,195, expense $8,469, ending balance on February 28, 2015 of $8,415.31.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Article 16.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to accept the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 60, Section 15B, allowing the creation of a revolving account in connection with the tax title process.
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 16.
I have a motion, I have a second. Recommendation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
9:45.
Okay. Article 17.
Susan Elwell, Board of Health. Article 17. Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $63,439 from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust Septic Betterment Loan Program to pay the debt service on the town's loan from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust.
I have a motion, I have a second.
Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 17.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Article passes.
9:46.
18. Article 18.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate $190,000 to be expended by the Board of Selectmen for the purpose of undertaking the following capital purchases and improvements. 1, $51,000 for purchasing and installing computers, software programs, email exchange server, sign message board, and other technological upgrades for the following departments: Treasurer, Health, Library, Council on Aging, Planning Department, Information Services Department, Fire Department, Emergency Management Department, and Police. Number 2, $55,000 for the purchase of department equipment as follows: radio repeaters for the Fire Department and firearms and body armor for the Police Department. Number 3, $84,000 for facilities upgrades for the following: painting the exterior of the Pine Grove School, upgrades to the Eris Park Playground and baseball field, installation of a security system and HVAC system for the police station, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, and that to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow said amount under the President of Chapter 40, Section 8, and Chapter 29C of the general laws, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any other action necessary to accomplish the purpose of this vote.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 18.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Article passes.
9:48.
Article 19.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation Fund fiscal year 2016 annual revenues the amounts recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for committee administrative expenses, debt service, community preservation projects, and other expenses, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. Summary of recommendations by category: reserve, creation and support of affordable housing, $15,258. Appropriations, debt service for Brad Street Farm land acquisition, $200,806.26. Debt service for the Girl Scout property, $131,000. Administration, 5%, $22,689.75.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second.
The Finance Committee recommends passage of Article 19.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Article passes. Article 20.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to transfer a tax title land consisting of a 2.01 acre parcel of land shown on Assessors Map 17, Block 20, Lot 41, at 9 Turcotte Memorial Drive to the Rowley Conservation Commission for conservation purposes under the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 8C, as it may from time to time be amended and subject to the purposes and protections of Article 97 of the amendments to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Finance? There's no recommendation, okay. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
I'm just curious, what's going to be the benefit for the town as opposed to selling it if it's saleable?
Excuse me, Mr. Conley, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was just asking the benefit that this is going to give to the town. Maybe the conservation can answer that. And as opposed to selling it, if it is sellable. But I just want to know the benefit to the town.
Okay.
I think what the answer to his question is the fact that it's wetlands. And you really can't do anything with wetlands except pay taxes on it. And for the town to be able to protect it, we want to put it in the hands of the Conservation Commission, which has land next to it already anyway.
All right. We have to rescind it, right? We'll go back and...
Yeah, because you didn't see the question.
We're going to rescind this, okay? And go back and vote it, okay? Could I have somebody rescind it and just... Oh. Excuse me.
Conference.
I needed a clarification from town council. It's been voted on, it's been passed. Go forward. Okay.
9:51.
21.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to amend Section 10 of the town meeting bylaw of the Town of Rowley, general bylaws, by deleting the words in strike-through and inserting the words in bold italics. as shown on page 15 of the May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting warrant to read as follows. Section 10, the number of voters necessary to constitute a quorum for a legal meeting at any annual or special town meeting shall be 80 registered voters, provided, however, that a number less than a quorum may, from time to time, adjourn such meeting. This section shall not apply to such parts of the meeting as are devoted to the election of town officers.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Again? Let me see.
Hand count.
Can I have a hand vote? Counters, please.
John Manning, forgot the street, Hillside Street. A little distracting. Anyways, I think this is a really bad idea, an extraordinarily bad idea. And to vote for this tonight, just really your own time. You've all come out here tonight. You've made the effort to get here. It's 7:30. Yeah, people might roll in a little bit, but I think I've been in Rowley almost 20 years. The population has increased, not decreased. And to say, geez, you know, we only need 80 people, that's horrible. And I think you need to really ask yourself, do I really want to have less democracy here than more? Thank you.
I'm Charlie Costello from Bennett Hill Road, and I'm very much against this article. I think in this day and age of transparency in government, and the fact that we kind of suspicious of things, that we should keep our right to have a quorum here of 100 people. Tonight we had an article, a lot of people were involved in it, about the flea market. If some of you noticed, 30 walked out the door. I'll say no more.
Any other discussion? Counters. Okay, I'm sorry. Those in favor, raise your hand. Counters, do I have a count? Okay, hands down. Opposed? Raise your hands. Do we have a count? Oh, hold it. You count? Okay. Okay, oh, okay.
They may have a count, but we don't.
That's true.
So the total seats could have been anything, could have been 0, 500, 200, doesn't matter. We recommend less and more for one item or another. Right, but you also review every time if there's any exception to say something.
Okay, Article 21 reads as follows. Yes, 22, no, 92.
10:01.
Article 22.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $200,000 to be deposited into the Other Post-Employment Benefits Trust Fund.
Second.
Have a motion, have a second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
10:02.
Article 23.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $250,000 to be deposited into the stabilization fund.
Second.
I have a motion, have a second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article to 23.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
10:02.
Okay, Article 24.
Mr. Moderator, I move the town meet in St. Mary's Church, rear, Route 1A in said Rowley, on Tuesday, May 12th, 2015, at 12 noon, to act on the following. 1 selectman, 3 years. 1 moderator, 3 years. Town clerk, 3 years. Treasurer collector, 3 years. 1 highway surveyor, 3 years. 1 board of assessor member, 3 years. 1 planning board member, 5 years. 1 housing authority member, 5 years. 1 municipal light board member, 3 years. 1 municipal water board member, 3 years. 1 cemetery commissioner, 3 years. 1 cemetery commissioner, 2 years. 1 shellfish commissioner, 3 years. 1 constable, 3 years. 3 trustees for the public library, 3 years. For regional school district community committee, 1 Newbury member, 3 years. 1 Rowley member, 3 years. 1 Salisbury member, 3 years. Question 1. Shall the town of Rowley be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called, the amounts required to pay its share of the bond issued by the Triton Regional School District to pay the costs of renovating the Triton Stadium, including the payment of all other costs incidental and related thereto, which bond shall not exceed a total of $3,200,000. The principal component of such bond allocable to the town is expected to be approximately $1,100,000.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Before we get to adjournment, I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. It's been a long night. I want to thank you for putting up with me as the substitute moderator. Those are big high heels to fill, so. Joan, we miss you. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Moderator, I move the town vote to adjourn the May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting.
Second.
What? I have a second. Now, with that, before we leave, pick up the chairs, and if you could put them on the racks to help clean up for tomorrow morning. So with that, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
10:05.
Thanks, Susan. That's right.